This is Money Guide with Mary Sterk from Sterk Financial Services. Now, here's Mary Sterk.
Welcome to Money Guide with Mary Sterk. I am Mary Sterk, founding partner and CEO of Sterk Financial Services. You know, we're really lucky we have a handful of very talented female financial advisors who know a lot of things about money and finance. And so today we're going to have a couple of those advisors talk to you about a very important topic. You won't want to miss it.
Hi, Kelsey, Bankey, and Jordan Ireland here. We are two of the advisors at Sterk Financial Services. And today we are going to try to bring some clarity to just one of the points in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. I know there was a lot in that bill. There was a lot of things that changed, and there's a lot of complexity to it. So we're just going to take it piece by piece, and today we're going to focus on one part. So Jordan, which part are we talking about today?
Today, we're talking about the senior deduction. So, one of the things that came out of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act is that starting in 2025 through the year 2028, seniors over the age of 65 are going to get an additional $6,000 deduction for their taxes. So, $6,000 for an individual, $12,000 if you're a married couple. So, Kelsey, do you want to tell us a little bit about what this means?
Absolutely. So this is a deduction against your taxable income. Now, the cool thing is even if you aren't taking Social Security, you can get this deduction. So I know there was a lot of talk about out there about no tax on Social Security. It's not technically that. You're still going to have tax on your Social Security, but this is an extra benefit for people most likely in the ages, taking Social Security. So I'm pretty excited about it. I think there's a lot of potential here for some people. Yeah, and it affects most seniors, but not all seniors.
Right. So basically, what we're looking at is before the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, 64% of seniors already didn't pay any tax on their Social Security. So this additional deduction is going to take that almost up to 90%. So they're anticipating with this deduction that 88% of seniors will enjoy tax-free Social Security. So,
That's
really
awesome.
exciting thing for a lot of people. Anytime living is expensive, it's getting more expensive. And when we're talking about, somewhat limited incomes for people that have retired, I think we're always going to be excited anytime we see any type of, tax break. So,
Absolutely. And you get
yeah,
this
very
whether you
excited about that.
itemize or have a standard deduction. So that's cool
Yes.
too. So many of our deductions went away with the other tax bills that have come out recently. And this is one that it doesn't matter if you itemize or take the standard deduction. If you're under the income threshold, you would qualify for that.
Yeah. So really up until, individuals, you get to make up to 75,000 and you get to still, participate in this deduction. And if you're a couple, up to 150, it does start to phase out at that point, but you can go all the way up to, making 150,000 with an individual, and I believe it's 225 for a married couple and still realize part of the deduction. So, there's lots of opportunity there. And, this could make a real impact for a lot of folks that are getting to the point where they're going to start taking Social Security and getting into retirement as well. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm excited. I think this is you've seen right there. It's going to take it from 64% of seniors being able to have no tax on their Social Security. It's driving that number up
mhm.
by over 20%. It's the income thresholds. There's a lot of room in there between where it starts to phase out and when you're fully ineligible for it. So it's definitely going to require some discussions. And so now what I want to talk about is, okay, so what? What do I do with this information? And so I think we have a
Yep.
few actionable items that we want to share with everybody. And we'll kind of take our time going through these. It's not, not all of these are going to make sense for everybody, but what I'm hoping is that it prompts some discussions. I always say research, learn, figure it out, turn the rock over, and maybe you're not going to do anything different, but at least that's based on a decision and information and not just because you didn't look at it. So, Jordan, what's our first actionable item we want to talk about?
I think our first actionable item is, for the most part, going to be use your professionals at your disposal. So when we're talking about all of these action items, it's, every time they come out with a new tax bill, we're talking about making things more complicated. And if you're trying to go in and dissect this stuff all by yourself, it gets to be really overwhelming. That's what your
Absolutely.
professionals are here for, is to dive in and kind of take this stuff
There's
apart and
lots of
figure out what
nuance.
might
Yeah.
actually apply. Yes.
Yeah.
So, don't feel like you have to go about this alone. That's what, your professionals are there for. So, first action item is review where you're currently taking your income from. So many times you hear the discussion of asset allocation, where's your money invested? We're talking about asset location. You have your IRAs, you have your Roth IRAs, which is your tax-free money. You've got your non-qualified money, which is your after tax. So there's a lot of different places when you get to retirement that you can be taking your money from. It's important to go in and look at and review how is that impacting your total tax bracket. So might be a great time to start taking some withdrawals from, the more taxable sources from your IRAs and let that tax-free income continue to grow. Because again, as of right now, this deduction is supposed to expire in 2028. So we have a limited time frame right now where we can, again, maybe take some of more of that taxable income up front and then save some more of that tax-free income for down the road when maybe some of our tax brackets might be a little bit higher.
Absolutely. Or on the flip side, if you're not under that threshold, you're just slightly above the income thresholds, maybe in the reverse, you take a little less taxable income. So, regardless of where you are on the income spectrum, reviewing your asset allocation should be something that is on your to-do list. Uh, as Jordan said, there's asset allocation and asset location. Think of this as where is your income, allocation coming from. So many times people do pro rata. They'll just take the RMDs from all of their accounts, or they'll take proportionately from all of their accounts. And there's a lot of strategy that goes into an income plan. And I know, you look at financial planners, you look at investment advisors, and you're thinking, how are they investing the money? And that's very, very critical that that be done correctly. But just as equally as important, I would argue, is how is the income plan being created? And so I'm going to brag on Sterk Financial Services a little bit. I think we do this really well. We put a lot of focus on this because just as you're saving, it matters on how you're withdrawing in retirement. So if you haven't done a income plan, put that onto your to-do list to make sure that you're doing this in the most tax efficient way or tax effective way, I'll say, because sometimes taking a little more tax in one year versus another year might be appropriate, right? But what's the most tax effective way that you can take it over your lifetime? What's the best assets to take it from, both how they're invested, if they have any guarantees and things like that. So a really well done income plan is crucial for your retirement success. So if that's something you need help with, talk to your advisor, talk to us at Sterk Financial Services, and we'd be happy to help with that particular piece. But put that on your radar, that that's something that you should do if you haven't already done that.
Yeah, because nobody's going to escape the tax man, right? It's
Nope.
it's he's there waiting for you no matter what you do. But
Yep.
if you can make it as efficient as possible, and we don't want to give him any more money than we have to. So yeah, it's again, he's always going to be there waiting for you. But if we can, give to him minimally rather
Yeah.
than more than what
Use
we
the
have to,
code. Use the code to your
let's do that.
advantage. Use planning to your advantage. There's things in life we can't plan for, but there's so much we can plan for. And just some
Yes.
proper planning can significantly improve your tax situation when it comes to your retirement income.
Yep.
So, all
So
right,
and
what's the
then
next
and
one?
Well, let's talk about QCDs. So, if you don't know what a QCD is, it's a qualified charitable distribution. So, QCDs are great ways to get money out to your favorite charitable organization. Has to be a 501(c)(3). So, we can get money out to them, and basically, it's income that is completely going around you. So, it's a great way to give to charity without really having to worry about the charitable deduction, because the income just kind of goes around you rather than having to go through the deduction process and having to itemize. So after age 70 and a half, so before you even have to start worrying about your RMDs, you can start getting some of that taxable income out of your possession. So we can go at 70 and a half, start doing your qualified charitable distributions. They can count towards your RMDs. So, you get to that age and maybe you've saved so well that you've got enough money in your IRAs that it's like, hey, the government's going to make me take this money, but maybe I don't need it. Maybe I don't need the income and I don't want to pay the taxes on it just because they're, making me take it out. So it's a great opportunity to, meet the requirements of your required minimum distribution, give to your favorite charity, give back, and, kind of escape some of that tax burden a little bit too.
Absolutely. So if you're close to 70 and a half or over 70 and a half and you have charitable intent and you're not doing QCDs, that is a discussion point. Okay. So as Jordan said, after 70 and a half, directly from your IRAs. Okay. So I have an IRA. I'd send money directly from my IRA, any dollar amount that I'm wanting to give to charity, right? If I'm donating to a 501c3, if that money goes from my IRA directly to that charity, I don't have to count that on my income, right? So when we're looking at trying to keep our taxable income down in a certain threshold, that's a strategy, but just general tax planning, that's a strategy to look into. So directly from your IRA to your charity, you don't have to take the taxable income. If that same money, so let's say I wanted to give $1,000 to a charity, 1,000 directly from my IRA to the charity, not taxable to me, 1,000 from me or from my IRA to my checking account, and then I write the check to the charity, that's now taxable to me. And I may or may not get the charitable deduction depending on if I itemize or not, right? So QCDs, qualified charitable distribution, is what that stands for. Huge, huge, huge strategy to look into if you are charitable at any level. So we have some people that are giving a lot, some people that are giving as much as they can. Wherever you fall on that spectrum, take a look at that. Again, it doesn't start until you're 70 and a half, but talk to your planners, hopefully. Maybe you talk to us about this and we can help you with a little bit more strategy there.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
a great tool to use too. Like again, like you talked about, if you're kind of butting up against that income
Mhm.
level to where, you might be getting to the point where you're going to phase out of the deduction or you're getting up to a certain tax bracket, use the QCD to stay under those thresholds. That's going to be where that tool is super useful. So again, like Kelsey said, talk to your planner, make sure you're utilizing all those resources to take advantage of all the potential that you have.
Congratulations to Mary Sterk and the team at Sterk Financial for earning a spot on multiple Forbes lists for 8 years running, including the 2025 Forbes Best in State Wealth Advisors and 2025 Forbes Top Women Wealth Advisors Best in State.
All right. So then Roth conversions. So Roth conversions has been a kind of buzzword out in the news and out in the investment world for quite a while. And I think it makes sense to bring up again in context of this particular tax law change. So again, it's another tool for changing the taxation on your accounts, on your IRAs. And it may make sense, it may not make sense, but this is one I will tell you where an annual conversation really is going to come in handy. So for some people, this year it might make sense to do a Roth conversion. Next year it might not make sense, right? Not every tax year is identical, but I think it's part of what should be in the discussion as you're trying to figure out how to get the most you can out of this particular tax bill. If you're under that threshold, you're essentially going to get an additional $6,000 deduction, right? So your taxes should be more favorable this year than last year if everything else stayed the same. So do you want to try to take in a little bit additional money, do a Roth conversion from your IRA to your Roth IRA, take that taxable income, get some more money on the tax-free growth side of the tax world in the investments? Does that make sense? Or are you doing are you above that threshold? Maybe if you are, you go ahead and do a bunch more Roth conversions in that year. And then the next year, change how you're taking your income to get below. So you may not qualify for this every year. Maybe you bounce and you bounce up and you don't get it next year, and you bounce back down the year after and get the tax deduction. again, I think this is warranting annual conversations on Roth conversions, regardless of your age, even if you aren't qualifying at this age 65 level yet. It's probably something to talk to your advisor about every year and your tax person. So tax conversations always should go to tax advisors. Depending on what kind of financial advisor you have, they can have some of those conversations with you as well, and help kind of marry your investments with your tax plan to try to take advantage of the tax code and not pay the tax person, not pay the IRS any more than you have to pay. So all about following the laws, but definitely know the laws and know your rights within them to keep your tax bill in check. You want to use your
Yeah.
money for you and for your family and for your charities, and a little less for the IRS.
And with the Roth IRA conversion too, don't forget the Roth IRA clock. So if you are, maybe 63 this year and think that in a couple of years with the additional deduction, you might want to do some of these Roth conversions, get a Roth open now if you don't have one already. Because again, you got to have that Roth open for 5 years to fully appreciate all of the benefits of having it. So get the Roth open. So then, down the road, if you want to start doing some additional contributions or those bigger Roth conversions, you've got the account open and it's ready to go.
Yeah.
So
Same thing on the 401k. So 401k clocks are not the same as IRA clocks when it comes to Roth. So we get that question a lot. We open a lot of Roth IRAs just so that 401k Roth has a place to go, and the 5-year clock has already been started. So Roth, I think Roth conversions are a fascinating conversation. Again, it doesn't make sense for everybody, but that's why you have to have a custom conversation. That's why understanding exactly where you're at, having somebody that understands not only your investments, but your income plan, your tax situation, what you want your legacy to be after your death, whether it's family, charity, or something different. Pulling all of those pieces together to build a custom plan, it's a very valuable experience. And I hope this maybe prompts you to have some more conversations. There's a lot of good in here, and there's some things that you can do if you don't qualify to maybe qualify, or maybe to take advantage of it if you do qualify. So this has been fun.
Yep. Yeah. I
Lots
think
of cool things to talk about.
everybody's thinking like, oh, tax is so fun.
Oh yeah. I mean, that just goes to show, I call myself a financial nerd. I really like taxes and talking about, I don't want to pay taxes, but I like talking to people about their taxes, about their investments. There's just so much that can be done that you just have to know to ask and to be wanting to have the conversation. So please, 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 if you're hearing this, if you're watching online, if you're listening on the radio, put that on your to-do list. Maybe before the end of this year, so you can take advantage of it, or certainly make it part of your New Year's resolution. If this year is going to be a little tight on that, but I think it'll be a worthy conversation, regardless of when you get it in.
Yeah. Use your advisor's nerdy brains. Use your CPA's nerdy brains.
Takes all
we
kind of
like
kinds,
this
Jordan.
stuff. Yeah. Yeah. There's nerdy brains out there for this kind of stuff, right? So yeah, don't think you got to do all this stuff on your own. This is the kind of stuff that we like to do, and that's what we're here for. So
It's really
as
where the planning
confusing,
shines. Mm-hmm.
yeah, it can be confusing and overwhelming. Again, this is just one small part of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. So, definitely it can be overwhelming. So use all the resources that you have available.
Absolutely. All right. Well, hopefully this provided some clarity on just one part of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Our goal is to bring some clarity to the situation. So hopefully we did that. Certainly, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, thank you for listening. Signing off from Sterk Financial Services.
Thank you for listening to the advisors at Sterk Financial. We hope this has been informative and good information for you, and that it helps aid you in your journey of learning more about finance, money, investments, taxes, and different things like that. Have a great day.
Sterk Financial Services celebrated 20 years in 2024. The views expressed are not necessarily the opinion of your audio provider and should not be construed directly or indirectly as an offer to buy or sell any securities or services mentioned herein. Investing is subject to risks, including loss of principal invested. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. No strategy can ensure a profit nor protect against loss. Please note that individual situations can vary. Therefore, the information should only be relied upon when coordinated with individual professional advice. Securities and investment advisory services offered through Osaic Wealth, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Insurance offered through Sterk Financial Services, which is not affiliated with Osaic Wealth. Osaic Wealth is separately owned, and other entities and/or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Osaic Wealth. The rankings for the Forbes Best in State Wealth Advisors list by Shook Research is based on due diligence meetings to evaluate each advisor qualitatively, a major component of a ranking algorithm that includes client retention, industry experience, review of compliance records, firm nominations, and quantitative criteria, including assets under management and review generated for their firms. The Forbes ranking of America's top women wealth advisors is based on an algorithm of qualitative and quantitative data, rating thousands of wealth advisors with a minimum of 7 years of experience and weighing factors like revenue trends, assets under management, compliance records, industry experience, and best practices learned through telephone and in-person interviews. There is no fee in exchange for rankings. Forbes is a trademark of Forbes Media LLC. All rights reserved. Rankings and recognition from Forbes, Shook Research are no guarantee of future investment success and do not ensure that a current or prospective client will experience a higher level of performance results, and such rankings should not be construed as an endorsement of the advisor.